People to this month we have the Federal Reserve meeting, and in that meeting they are going to argue if they start tapering. Yeah, and the Federal Reserve has a lot of holes where they pour money into the economy, and they are saying that tapering for them is like creating the depression of last century. Is the same of creating like the unemployment and everything else, just to have the money to have value and to pick up the money of the all the cycle. But yeah, and what I'm saying is that it's better if they start tapering by cutting the buying of the bonds, of the corporate bonds, because those bonds doesn't allow for those companies to compete in the market, and in that market doesn't get the results that they want, where they go out of market, or out of business. Yeah. So they are saying that if that happens, they are going to have to let that people go, yeah, to create more unemployment. But if instead of those bonds, throw another stimulus check, yeah, and that stimulus check is going to give the power for the citizens to find another job and to have the end of the pandemic with resources enough to buy their things, yeah. And since the other economies went against the cycle, the expansion of the economy can include the commodity boom, or at least the beginning of that, and to boost that commodity boom, another stimulus check, and cut the bonds. Yeah, they are buying the corporate bonds. Yeah, so that is way better if they do that than if they do the same of the ECB bank, the European Bank, Central Bank, because that is like buying creating unemployment, and they're not going to allow that in the European Union. They are going to throw that unemployment and inflation to Africa. They are going to send money to the heads of Africa to allow that. Yeah, and same thing in Latin America, because if we have to absorb the inflation of China and Europe, well, we are going to have unemployment, and unemployment here for the system is always, yeah, in Latin America, more in my country, yeah. And that is what is because our commodities doesn't pay, doesn't have the correct prices, market prices. Yeah, they are manipulated in the market, so China and Europe can have lower commodity prices, and we have to absorb that inflation. Yeah, so it's really important for the Fed, for us, for Latin America, for Arabia, for Russia, for the commodity producers countries, for the Fed to not taper yet. If they are going to taper, well, you can close the hole of the corporate bonds, or you can cut another hole that is putting money into the bank accounts and not into the like, for example, the 10-year bond, 30-year bond, 2-year bond. Those kind of bonds have to be negative. In Europe are negative, and with those bonds you can back up your banking. Yeah, if you have a bank, you have money from the Fed, and if something goes wrong with your investment, the Fed is going to give you money as a lender of last resort. Yeah, so those bonds are more like an asset to play in the market than an asset that you have for interest rates, because you can leverage on that bonds more than one time, because you have the Fed backing you as an American bank. Yeah. So those bonds, I think, is better if those bonds go negative, and the normal thing that happens to those bonds, is that to go negative as the other currencies in the world disintegrate and pass those economies as a dollarization in fact. Yeah, like Venezuela. Yeah, or the European country that has the euro by fact, not as a legal tender, but they do it and that's it. Yeah. And that is happening around the world in the emerging market currencies. Yeah, so that is going to give an extra deflation to the dollar, and those bonds are going to tend to go negative. Yeah, the 30-year, 10 year, 5 year, and 2 years. Yeah, they have to tend to go negative as the demand of dollars increases. Yeah. So those kind of advantages add a lot of deflation. The the logically thing to do is to not taper yet. And if they are going to start tapering, it's better if they taper the corporate bonds because they know they can sustain or maintain the economy with the demand that they are going to have for the dollar, yeah, because that is growing. If a country disintegrates and is going to start using your currency because their currency disintegrates and continue using yours, that is more. That is increasing the real GDP of the United States. That is increasing the balance of the Fed in deflation because their operation is bigger, the operation of the currency. Yeah. So if that is happening, it's better if they continue printing until they win the trade war, and we have the Latin America, Arabs, and Russia, the commodity cycle, and Europe and China restructure their economies, yeah, with the neoliberalism cycle that they need to live because they are not having the bad consequences of those cycles because they throw the inflation in Africa and in Latin America and in Russia, of course, that if Russia for doing that, for absorbing all the inflation and unemployment and the conditions in life, for having low commodity prices, of course they have demographic problems because you don't have the money for sustain families and all the stuff, yeah. And same thing are happening in Europe, but because of wages, and the United States because of wages, yeah. And in China, I think it's because of the same of Russia, yeah. But in other things, yeah, because they don't have food, they don't have anything, yeah. But we are having to pay everything in China and everything in Europe for the companies that are zombie companies because all China is because it's communist, yeah. In a communist environment, you subsidize everything and it doesn't care because the Western countries that you are selling cheap are the ones that need to say that your debt is good, yeah. So you throw everything in your debt and they let you do that, but at the end it's going to blow because it's only maintaining because you are absorbing the cost of all your operation, yeah. And they don't want to do that. They want to throw that cost in another country, in another continent, and they are doing that in Latin America, and they are doing that also in Africa, and they are doing that to Russia because Russia also sells gas and petroleum to China, and they sell those things to a low price that is way lower than the normal market price because they are Wall Street is helping China and Europe, yeah, to sustain their production. We are sustaining their production, their cost of production, and they are also buying the bonds of those companies, and they are also paying the salaries of those companies, yeah. But they are not profitable, yeah. So it's a lie. It's a lie, yeah. And if the Fed needs, in that meeting of the Fed, they need to start, well, it's my thinking, I don't know, yeah, it's my opinion. If they need to tape one of those holes, it's better if they tape a hole that doesn't affect the purchase power of the market, yeah, because the market at the end, what gives power to that is the market, yeah. That everyone can sell there, and and you can have the dollars and play with the dollars as another country, yeah. So the important thing is the market because you send something there, and what is going to buy it? The market, you know. You sell to the American people, yeah. So the most important thing is that, yeah, because if the demand go high and the prices of the commodities go high, that is not going to be like in the model of the economy of China and Europe, of course, no, yeah, because they need to have certain units because after those units they are going to have a lot of cost, and if the commodities are going up, they are going to have double cost, yeah, and they are going most likely to collapse, hyperinflation, horrible, yeah. Not Europe but China, yeah. because they are indebted and they are everything. And if that doesn't happen there, it's going to happen in all Latin America because all our budgets are deficit 10%, 20%, like that, because we are waiting for that commodity boom, of course. Yeah, and also Russia that has the gas to Europe and everything. That money, they need that money also. Yeah. And if the Fed start tapering too early, we are not going to have that because the commodities are going to go down as soon as they raise the interest rates. And they are going to bail out with that. China and Europe, they are going to end the civilization there in America, and they are going to end it here in Latin America and in Arabia because they also need that money, and in Russia, of course. Yeah. And that is going to win China and Europe. That's what I think, because if they tape early. Yeah. If they tape early, the way that is not, yeah, because they say start tapering, but start tapering is a lot of things. It's not only one thing. Start tapering is closing one of the holes, yeah, but it doesn't have to be the holes that is going to affect the wages, yeah, and it doesn't have to be the hole that affect the market, yeah, because that market is growing, and that is growing the GDP of United States, is growing the demand for certain things, and is affecting the competitors of the Western economy, yeah, the market economy, the communist parties, yeah. So it's really important that indeed if they close another hole, is going to affect communists. But if they close that hole, is going to affect the country, the people, Latin America, Arabia, and Russia. Yeah, and if they if they don't close that, they are going to help themselves, help the people, help us, and they are going to win to their competitors. That's what I think. Yeah. Thank you.